This is a seminar for Module C, Unit 1, Lesson 4. The topic is the digestive system. Your digestive system is responsible for the process of breaking down the food you eat into nutrients that can be used by cells in the body. There are two types of digestion. The first is mechanical digestion, and that's the breaking, crushing, and mashing of food. So that involves movement. The second is chemical digestion. This is what happens when large molecules of food are broken down into smaller molecules that can then pass into the bloodstream. Enzymes are responsible for this. An enzyme is a chemical that the body uses to break down food molecules. There are enzymes in your saliva, there are enzymes in your stomach, and different parts of your digestive system that do that work. Your mouth is the first stop in your digestive system. Both mechanical and chemical digestion begin there. You chew your food with your teeth. That's mechanical digestion. And then, like I said, the enzymes in your saliva begin the process of chemical digestion. The second part of your digestive system is the esophagus. This is a passageway for food from the mouth to the stomach. So you can see that here. It's a long, sort of narrow tube. The esophagus uses a process, a movement called peristalsis. So there are waves of muscle contractions in that tube that help to push the food down to the stomach. Then your stomach is a muscular sac that churns and crushes the food. I think of it kind of like how you would knead bread if you're making, knead the dough if you're making bread. So it churns and it crushes the food, it mixes it together, and through those muscle contractions crushes the food into smaller pieces. The stomach contains acid that kills bacteria, a pretty strong acid actually, and that helps to keep you from getting sick from the food that you eat. And it releases enzymes that break down proteins. So that's that chemical digestion piece. So again, in your stomach, you've got both mechanical and chemical digestion. The small intestine is the next part of your digestive system. It's called the small intestine because of its diameter. It's narrow in diameter, but it's actually quite long. So oftentimes people confuse the small and the large intestine. Most chemical digestion of food takes place in this red part here, the small intestine. This is where nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream. If you look at the diagram here, the walls of the small intestine are covered with little finger-like projections called villi, and the villi even have smaller finger-like projections called microvilli. The goal here is to increase the surface area so that there's more room for nutrients to be absorbed and to pass into the bloodstream. So here's some different images of those villi, those finger-like projections. They're covered with blood and lymph vessels. So nutrients are absorbed and move into the blood vessels as the food passes through. And then those nutrients can be transported in the bloodstream out to the different parts of the body. The large intestine comes next. It is shorter than the small intestine, but larger in diameter. So it's the diameter that gives it its name. The large intestine is where vitamins are absorbed. It also removes water from digested food and turns it into waste. So the large intestine kind of filters things out and decides what the body will keep and what will be processed as waste and expelled from the body. That water from digested food also sometimes then is returned back to the body. There are some helper organs that aren't directly part of the digestive system but are associated with it. Your liver releases bile to break down fat. The liver is a really large organ here that sits on top of your digestive system. The gallbladder stores that bile that's used to break down fat. That's a smaller organ that's tucked kind of in the middle of your abdomen. And then the pancreas releases the digestive enzymes into the small intestine that are responsible for chemical digestion. So it's a good idea to keep track of these two lists. The names of the organs that food actually passes through are the mouth, esophagus, stomach, large and small intestine. And they're all pictured here. And then also make a list of the helper organs. So these are organs that help the digestive system, but food never actually passes through them. Those are the liver, pancreas, and gallbladder. Those are the notes for Mod C, Unit 1, Lesson 4 on the digestive system.